Hello everyone, I'm just Casper, and today I'm bringing you an out-of-the-box style build. This build revolves around Zephyron, the Herald of Change greatsword, which allows you to cast lightning spells with this weapon. This build has gotten me around level 91 enemies and could easily go higher with the right set of gear. Take note that in this gameplay I am playing with a friend, so the killing potential may not accurately be shown if you are playing solo. It definitely performs just as well solo as it does in groups. When I saw this weapon, I knew I had to make a build for it, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, first we will go over the skills that I use for this. First things first, Bleeding Edge. This is your bread and butter. This is where most of your damage is going to be coming from. I got the increased proj speed. You don't have to take this, but if you don't have this, your axe will spin around 6 times, and if you do have this, it'll be 12. So it's pretty nice to have. Cast on cursor location, reduces rage costs, increase area of effect, and axe continues to spin after being thrown. Your second ability is Anomaly. Enemies are damaged when they are pulled in. Increases area of effect. Converts base ether damage to lightning damage. You have to have this or this will not cast. We can only do lightning damage with the greatsword, so you have to have it to lightning. Increases vortex duration, increases chances to inflict ailments. You don't have to have this one either. I just have it because I want to guarantee that I'm going to be applying the ailments that I'm trying to apply to get the damage buff from the node in the passive. So you don't have to have it, it's just personal preference. Skill allows the casting of 2 vortexes. Then I'm using Warpath. You don't have to use Warpath, you can use Wings of Ishmir as well. And I actually might end up switching to this one because the skill loses its cooldown and it costs a stamina point to use instead. So when you dodge roll, it costs a stamina point, but with this, you're using your stamina points to cast this ability instead of the rage. So that will be important when I get into the passive tree. And I'll explain that when I get there. But I'm using Warpath. A lot of these are just thrown in there. I just recently leveled this ability, so I just kind of had stuff thrown in there. I did take the convert space physical damage to fire damage. I did that just to, again, guarantee that I'm applying the ailments that I need to get my damage buffs. So there's that. Juggernaut. I did the same thing here, transferred it from physical to fire. Same reason. All of these you can really I would probably take what I have here. It's just giving you the most bang for your buck virtually. You're getting more absorption, you're getting less cooldown, less damage from projectiles. I would use this setup. If you do not have your 5th ability, don't worry about this. This is not something that you have to have for this build to work. Although I did see this, that the hook inflicts stasis on enemies when you hook them. This will become important once I get into the passive tree. I just got the pulls enemies from all... I'm still leveling this. Pull enemies from all directions, inflict stun, increase ranged, and the stasis. If you are going to use this ability, though, you will have to have the stasis because of what I'm going to explain in the passive tree. This is your willpower dump. The convert fire to lightning is a must-have. You have to have it to make it work. I got the multiple proj. I got the no longer collide and pierces, and the add 1 additional projectile. The willpower cost kind of seems like a nerf, but it's not, because you're using this ability to transfer your willpower to rage so that you can cast your bleeding edge, which is your damage. So you're also using this to apply your stasis, or not your stasis, your status ailments, and you will need to have this setup right here to make this work the best by far. Okay, we will go into the passive tree. This is just extra critical hit chance. I couldn't imagine a build without this thing. Its crit in this game is kind of busted, honestly. So having this is a must. Then I took attacks and spells go faster. You don't have to take this, although I highly, highly recommend it, because if you don't take this, the build becomes very clunky. You will. There was a moment where I did not have this, where I was trying to cast my bleeding edge in it. With a greatsword, it takes a while for the thing to go off. So I was stuck in an animation and just got smacked in one shot. So if you don't want that to happen, take this node. It's very, very worth it. Moving to the outside, this is our survivability. Gain block chance no matter what weapon you're using, so we gain the ability to block. Blocking enemies' attacks apply weakness. You'll be blocking all the time, especially with your fortress points that we have here. So you'll be applying weakness to everything that hits you, for the most part. Then obviously fortress, more block, less damage taken. It's great. If you are going to take this node, you don't have to, but if you are, this is a huge survivability buff. But you have to have a heavy chest piece for this to work. And what I mean by that is at the top left right there where it says chest piece heavy, it has to be a heavy for this to work. And what that node will do is double the resistances that you have. So right now, my resistances are 2395, 1926, that could be a little bit better, and 3382. I haven't gone out of my way to stack resistances, here and there a little bit, but yeah, that's ridiculous just for that one node. So that's very, very nice, but you have to have a heavy chest piece, remember. This is pretty much your damage right here. Killing an enemy afflicted with an ailment gives you a temporary damage boost. This is a must-have. This is probably the most broken node in the tree, in my opinion. You'll just be applying so many statuses to things that you'll end up having around 5 or 6 plus 5% damage to yourself all the time. It's fantastic. You will need this to make it work, though. Can do 2 different elements. That's just extra damage, and then when applying an ailment, there's a chance to double. That's just to get them off faster, to make sure that you know, if you're charging into a pack and instantly one-shot them all with your stuff, you're probably not going to get a lot of stacks, but with this, you get them double, and yada yada yada. It's great. Life leech, pretty self-explanatory there, just more survivability. And this is what I was talking about with the Wings of Ishmir, the probing weakness and stalwart resolve. So when you roll, I have this buff, and it gives me a chance to for attacks to deal double damage. So your axe has the potential to deal double damage. However, when you roll, it changes your stance to now give you block chance. You do not want the block chance. You're A-okay on block chance. You want the attacks deal double damage. And what I was talking about with the Wings of Ishmir and why I might switch to it is the skill loses its cooldown and costs 1 stamina point to use instead. So this will give you a movement to get out of stuff without having to dodge roll, and it does not change your stance. So I might end up switching to this. I just really like Warpath, so it's hard to kind of break away from it. But yeah, that would be a really, really good take. So yeah, probing weakness. You don't need stalwart resolve. Don't worry about it. And then this is what I was talking about with the hook. So this is the node I'm actually going for right now. When you damage an enemy that is afflicted with stasis, they will take that damage again after a few seconds. I haven't tried this yet, but I can't imagine it being bad. It looks great. So, like I was saying earlier, your hook has a 100% chance to afflict stasis. So anything you hook is going to get that debuff on them that they will be hit. They'll take 100% hit damage after blah blah. So I can imagine that being good. I'm going to try it. I'm not sure how it's really working out yet. But that's the passive tree. Take in mind that I am level 68 right now. This build could scale so well with so many different things. My passive points, I basically did for every, so you get 10 points when you level up, and for every 10 I would put 7 into ferocity and 3 into toughness, and this is what I ended up getting. You don't have to do that. It's just personal. I just, this build's pretty tanky. I have a couple clips of me just eating one-shot abilities with this build. So now we'll go into the gear. My shoulders, gloves could be better. The thing that you're looking out for is rage and willpower cost. This will allow you to get more of the bleeding edges out. I think right now I can have 3 out. I did get to a point where I could have 4, but I switched out some gear and lost it. But crit, ferocity, basic stuff for pretty much every build. Crit and ferocity is amazing if you can get it. But as much rage and willpower cost as you can manage. Ignore the occult damage. This is all gear. This gear is not specifically for this build. This was gear that I had left over from my last build that just so happened to work decently well. You have to have the weapon. This build doesn't work without the weapon. Self-explanatory. As for the amulet, belt, and rings, what you're looking for on these is the two spells thing. I know I have 2 attacks, but I would go for 2 spells. So what this is doing is giving you damage on top of your spells. You're not too worried about the damage. You're worried about the damage applying the ailment to whatever you're attacking, which again goes with this. So anything that you can get that has the 2 spells, so I'm getting like fire and frost and ether and shadow and stuff, those will give you those ailment stacks and buff your character essentially. Look for crit hit damage on anything you can. Crit hit damage will skyrocket your DPS. That's really what I'm looking for on this build. I was mostly for head and chest just going for resistances. The cooldown reduction's nice. It's not needed. It's nice. Yeah, and movement speed on boots is huge, which is another thing about this passive tree. I took these nodes just for the extra movement speed and cast speed. You don't have to have them. I just like the movement speed. The gems, I went pure health, just health, and then in the I'm just now realizing that I forgot to put a socket in that. Just do the attack crit gems. Those are by far the best. I need to put one in that, but that's pretty much it. It's a really good build, really fun build. It's probably not going to break any new ground on like the amount of damage or clear speed you can do, but it's an out-of-the-box fun build that uses a really fun mechanic, kind of like a battle mage. You're kind of like Thor, actually. Really fun. If you guys come up with anything that I could change in the build or that you found that works way better, please let me know in the comments. I would love to see how far I could take this build. Currently I got it at level 91 enemies at level 68, so that's, and that's with a group and solo, for those curious. Yeah, it's just a really fun build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later.